Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I'm Dr. Muhammad Mudassar Shahzad from University of Education, and the today's topic of our lecture is Paleozoic life. As we have discussed in previous lecture that the Precambrian time period that was ended on 570 million years ago, and 570 million years ago the Paleozoic life was started. Paleozoic life, a Paleozoic era that was lasted for 345 million years. That was the first time period in which we can observe the fossils formation due to favorable conditions. In this time period, many animal and aquatic vertebrates such as reptiles and invertebrates such as insects were dominated in that time period. The Paleozoic time period was differentiated, was distributed into 6 eras. Number 1 is Cambrian time period, number 2 Ordovician time period, number 3 Silurian, number 4 Devonian, number 5th Carboniferous, and number 6th was Permian time period. Here you can see the Carboniferous period that was distributed into 2 sub eras. Number 1 was Mississippian, number 2 was Pennsylvanian. Now we are going to discuss these eras one by one. Number 1, first of all, we are going towards the Cambrian time period. The Cambrian time period, that was the oldest period of Paleozoic era. It was started from 570 million years and ended at 500 million years. It's mean that there was 70 million years of Cambrian time period. In this time period, the researchers observed the shallow sea from Europe to east part of North America. On the other hand, 30% of North America was underwater, and Australia was discovered in that time. Climate of that time period was difficult to interfere. Generally, the researchers observed that there was a vast amount of limestone and typical marine organisms. That shows the warmer environment. All the animals, all the animal phyla that are present today, except then the chordate, were present in Cambrian time period, but there was no life on land. Cambrian time period was also called as age of invertebrate, as the invertebrates such as trilobites, brachiopods, snails, plesiopods, corals, cephalopods, sponges, echinoderms, and annelids were dominated organisms of that time period. Here you can see the brachiopods, sponges, trilobites, plesiopods, annelids, echinoderms. In echinoderms you can see basket star, sea urchin, feather star, and Egyptian sea star. All of these invertebrates, such as trilobites and brachiopods, were dominated organisms of Cambrian time period. It was observed that overall 80 to 90% of organisms were present of these two phyla on our Earth. It was also observed that more than 600 genera of trilobites were present. That's why the period, the Cambrian time period, was called as Golden Age of Trilobites. Next, we are going towards the Ordovician period. Ordovician time period, that was also comprises of another 70 million years. It was started from 500 million years ago and ended at 430 million years ago. In this time period, different continents were begun to cover with water. There were shallow seas. 70% of North America was underwater in that time period, and there was an abundance of trilobites and brachiopods in that time period. In that time period, giant cephalopods were also noticed, in which 5 to 10 meters long and 1 meter of diameter cephalopods were observed. The researchers also found the first traced fossils of vertebrates in Ordovician time period. The animals that was observed were ostracoderms, that was called as jawless fishes. These animals were covered with heavy dermal plates. These are the ostracoderms. And next, eurypterids or water scorpions. Next, we are going towards the Silurian time period. Silurian time period was comprises of 35 million years ago. It was started from 430 and ended at 395 million years ago. In this time period, two biological events were noticed. Number one, air-breathing land animals that are called as arachnids, resembling to modern scorpions. During this time period, greater part of Europe, North America, India, and Pakistan were submerged under sea. On the other hand, Mediterranean Sea was formed in that time period. In that time period, climate of the whole earth was temperate. These are the diagrams of arachnids that were dominated in Silurian time period. Next, we are going towards the Devonian period. Devonian period was comprises of next 50 million years. It was started from 395 million years ago and ended at 345 million years ago. In this time period, first amphibian animals were noticed. In Devonian time period, original ostracoderms were differentiated into a great variety of fishes. That's why The Devonian time period was called as Age of Fishes. In that time period, many cartilaginous and bony fishes were evolved in marine and fresh water. At the ending time of Devonian period, lungfishes and lobe-finned fishes were moving towards the land environment. At the end of Devonian, trilobites and brachiopods were going to be great decline, and many species of trilobites and brachiopods were extinct from the earth. Due to overemergence of amphibians that were resembled towards the land vertebrates that were moving towards the land vertebrates were called as stegocephalians. In this time period, there were a large number of ferns and gymnosperms were also noticed on our earth. Here you can see the different diagrams of stegocephalians, lubed fin fish, and lungfish. Now we are going towards the Carboniferous time period. American geologists divided the Carboniferous time period into two periods. Number one, Mississippian time period, and number two, Pennsylvanian period. In Carboniferous time period, many swamps and forests were noticed. There was also vegetative plants on our earth. The whole land was covered with swampy areas, horsetails, ferns, and evergreen plants. In this time period, amphibians were dominated organisms. That's why the time period was called as Golden Age of Amphibians. Here you can see the different diagrams of amphibians. These are the horsetails. Two important winged insects that were evolved in Carboniferous time period were cockroaches and dragonflies. Now, the Permian time period. In the Permian time period, was lasted about 55 million years. It was started from 225 million years. It was started from 280 million years and ended at 225 million years ago. Climate of that time period was totally unfavorable to plants. Thousands of species in the Carboniferous time periods were reduced into few hundreds. Many new insects were appeared, and amphibians were retreated to rivers and lagoons. In this time period, many new groups of reptiles were also noticed. Here you can see these animals, these reptiles. These were huge animals. in which first of all you can see Dimetrodont, a huge reptile of that time period, and on the other hand a lizard-like animal called as Edaphosaurus and crocodile-like animal Mesosaurus. And here you can see that many groups of plants and animals were dominated in Paleozoic time period that were extinct in previous time period. 75% amphibians were died out. Foraminifera, bryozoans, corals, brachiopods, trilobites, and blastoids were also extinct. Crinoids and echinoids were the animals that were also going to be reduced. Here you can see the foraminiferans, bryozoa, blastoids, crinoids and crinoid fossils, echinoids. That was all about of our today's lecture.